Let's just jump right in. I am so incredibly excited you're here for this explainer because honestly what we're looking at today feels straight out of a sci-fi movie. But it's happening right now. We are going to look at how solving a strictly physical problem, literally just dealing with heat, is completely rewiring our digital world, the global economy, and our entire financial system. We're talking about liquid-cooled quantum AI hybrids and super-resolution markets.
So what does liquid coolant have to do with your retirement? I know, it sounds like the setup to a weird joke, right? But the connection between the physical temperature of a computer chip and the actual real-world safety of your life savings is absolutely rock solid. By the time we wrap up here, you are going to see exactly how plumbing, yes, literally pipes and water, is protecting your wallet.
Okay, let's dive into this first part, hitting the thermal limit, or what's known as the wall of 2026.
To really get why this solution is such a game changer, we first have to understand the massive physical brick wall that financial firms slammed into. Traditional air-cooled servers just cannot handle the intense, melting heat of 2026-level AI. Financial firms literally hit a thermal limit. For decades, we cooled computers with loud, super inefficient air fans. But these massive new AI models required to process endless streams of global financial data, they run impossibly hot. Companies quickly realized their old infrastructure was a massive physical bottleneck. You simply can't run these high-power processors at max speed and just blow air on them. They will literally melt down and fail. So entire sprawling server rooms had to be completely gutted and retrofitted with specialized liquid cooling chambers just to keep the machines alive.
Enter the hybrid brain, the physical and digital solution. This massive heat crisis forced a completely radical evolution. The industry needed a fix that tackled both the hardware melting point and the incredibly complex software demands of modern high-speed finance. Let's actually pin down a quick definition here so we have a solid foundation before going deeper. Liquid-cooled quantum AI hybrids. These are advanced systems combining traditional AI with quantum computing, all while utilizing specialized liquid cooling to manage that intense processor heat. Basically, we are smashing together everyday processing, impossible mathematical capabilities, and cutting-edge thermal plumbing into one giant, incredible system.
Now you might be wondering, just how much better is this new plumbing? Try 25 times better. No joke. Instead of just blowing cold air around, these modern setups use what's called a liquid jacket. They literally circulate a specialized coolant liquid directly over or right around the chips themselves. This liquid whisks the intense heat away up to 25 times more efficiently than air ever could. That huge plunge in temperature is the ultimate skeleton key here. It unlocks maximum processing speeds and just obliterates the performance barriers we used to have. Oh, and as a nice bonus, it totally slashes the energy waste from running thousands of giant, screaming air fans.
And this completely changes how the systems divide up the actual work. Think of it as splitting tasks between two totally different brains. First, you've got the classical AI brain. Picture a massively beefed-up standard server. It handles the everyday, standard financial data streams we're all used to. Then, backing it up, you have the quantum processor. This side tackles the truly impossible math. We're talking about calculating the absolutely perfect path through trillions of complex financial options. Specialized hybrid software layers, like NVIDIA CUDA-Q, for example, act like a brilliant traffic cop. They tell the system exactly which part of a problem belongs to the classical AI and which super complex part gets sent over to the quantum chip.
Moving right along, super resolution mapping the market.
To really grasp this, think about standard economic predictions like a blurry, heavily pixelated photograph from an old cell phone. This new method takes that exact same picture and turns it into a crystal clear 4K high-definition masterpiece. The source material actually describes this perfectly, stating the AI takes blurry or incomplete financial data and uses quantum logic to fill in the gaps. And that is exactly what super-resolution financial modeling is all about. It flexes the immense power of these liquid-cooled hybrid systems to analyze stock markets, banking data, and global trade with a level of precision that was literally impossible before 2026. Financial analysts use this tech to run millions of what-if scenarios in a fraction of a second, perfectly reacting to global shifts and drawing a high-definition map of exactly where global money is flowing and exactly why it's going there.
So let's trace this out step by step to see how this builds across an actual chain of events. It's a precise four-step reaction showing how physical temperature directly leads to financial profit. Step 1. Better cooling infrastructure. Those pumps, pipes, and heat exchangers we talked about allows for much more powerful AI chips. Step 2. Because those chips aren't catching fire, they can handle the heavy integration of quantum math via cloud services. Step 3. That quantum math then identifies incredibly subtle, totally hidden risks and opportunities buried deep inside the global stock market. And finally, step 4. Investors get those super-resolution views of the market, which leads directly to far more stable, profitable trades. Basically, a perfectly cooled chip equals a perfectly calculated trade.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. Impact on your wallet. What's in it for me?
We've talked a lot about the massive scale of these server chambers and global markets. Let's zoom out from the technical deep dive and bring this right back home. What is the actual impact on your wallet? What's in it for you? Well, the practical benefits of this technology are incredibly real for everyday people. First off, lower banking fees. Because liquid cooling is insanely energy efficient, it drastically cuts a bank's electricity bill. And those savings can actually trickle down to you and me. Second, millisecond fraud detection. A hybrid system like this can spot one single fraudulent swipe of a credit card out of millions of normal ones, literally in the blink of an eye. Third, we get highly accurate retirement planning. Your financial advisor can use these super-resolution models to give you a dramatically more certain look at your future savings. And finally, overall market stability. By spotting hidden structural risks way ahead of time, institutions can actually prepare for and potentially even prevent sudden economic crashes.
But of course, there's always a catch. The billion-dollar catch: limitations and risks.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that getting to a crash-proof super-resolution economy is anything but easy. We really have to look at the massive hurdles standing in the way of adopting this hybrid tech. The source material highlights 3 major limitations. First up is the jaw-droppingly high initial costs. Building a liquid-cooled facility isn't just a little bit pricier. We are talking 50% to 150% more expensive to build than a traditional server room. Second is technical complexity. There is a massive, severe shortage of experts who actually understand both advanced liquid plumbing and complex quantum programming. It's a very rare skill set. And third is fragility. Quantum chips are ridiculously sensitive. Even the absolute tiniest physical vibrations or microscopic temperature changes can cause them to glitch out and make mathematical mistakes. In the industry, they call this noise. To work, these chips require an absolutely flawlessly controlled environment.
And you know that intense fragility and immense cost leads straight into perhaps the single most significant systemic risk outlined in the source data: data security and global fairness. Think about it. Because these facilities are so outrageously expensive and difficult to construct, not everyone is going to have them. If only a select few powerhouse firms have access to these super-resolution models and everyone else is left in the dark, well, it could create a massively uneven playing field, granting a completely unfair economic advantage on a global scale.
Which brings us to a really profound final thought. If the wall of 2026 means that only a tiny handful of ultra-wealthy firms can actually afford the liquid-cooled quantum brains required to map our financial future in 4K resolution, who really controls the economy? It's a huge question sitting right at the intersection of thermal physics and global wealth. Thank you so much for hanging out and exploring this fascinating shift in our technological landscape with me today. I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity to go out and learn even more about the incredible hidden systems that are powering our world.